Sup gamers, welcome back to Minecraft 100 Days. I decided to go back to my roots and try a new challenge, 100 days in a deserted wasteland. You see this? This is my spaceship that I crashed in. I am now in a complete wasteland that is only sand and cactus that stretches for miles. Guess what's under that sand? More sand. Where do I get wood? Now that's the question. If that's not challenging enough, there's also desert storms, hundreds of mobs, having to worry about heat. And food is also scarce because there's no cows lying around. Oh, did I mention you have to worry about your own hydration as well? Not only is this one of the more challenging mod packs that I have played, it also has a story. My objective is to rebuild a spaceship and leave this planet. To do that, I have to scour the world for all its resources, meaning there's abandoned cities, sand temples, and even battle arenas to fight through. And to top it all off, I'm in hardcore mode, meaning I only have one life, with only 4 hearts at my use. Meaning without armor, I can die from a skeleton in one shot. And inspired by Forge Labs, on day 100, there will be a moon rising. All zombies will be able to break and climb blocks. I will have to make a defense strong enough to protect me and my base by then. Will I survive and maybe even escape? Find out by the end of the video, and if you're part of the percentage that is not already subscribed, subscribe right now. And if you really like the video, make sure to smash that like button and maybe comment some tips, because maybe we'd go on for 200 days. Day 1, I spawn inside the spaceship, and all I can see is the desert stretching on for miles. The first thing that you probably notice is that I don't have any hardcore hearts, and the reason is when you are creating a world, you can't modify any of the settings due to cheating. What I can do is run this command which turns hardcore mode on, which changes the difficulty of everything to hardcore and only gives me 1 life. But for some reason, the hearts stay normal, and I think that's just because how the mod pack was created. I decided to explore my spaceship, and it was empty inside, but it looked really cool. There was something in a back room like this lava dripping out, and also a chest that came with a sapling, some bone meal, and 3 bottles of water. Getting those items allowed me to complete my first quest, gathering supplies. This quest book is really important because I get rewards for doing things, so I got this dirt block, so now I can plant my oak tree. I decided to look outside to see what I was going up against, and honestly, there was nothing for the eye to see. I guess I start by planting my first tree. I started exploring around the ship to see if there was anything unique, and I found a water stream that was going out on the backside. I even found a hidden chest that was in the wreckage behind the spaceship. There was a book inside, so I thought I found something important, but I just got rickrolled. Before I went back to my spaceship, I decided to collect some cactuses because why not? I searched around other pieces of wreckage to see if there was more hidden chests, but no luck. Hey, look at that. My first sapling has grown into a tree. When I got back to my spaceship, there was another reward I got from completing my first quest, and it was a loot chest, and I actually got an anvil. That is actually really good luck, but I completely forgot I had it for the rest of the 100 days. I looked upon my second quest, and it looked like it was a lot of stations for the mod Tinkers, which is actually fantastic because I never had the time to get into this mod in my largest mod pack series, so I guess I just have to start getting wood. By the time I finished all the stations with the wood I had, the nighttime was rolling over, but at least I completed another quest. I was gonna go back outside because I needed more wood, but that was not gonna happen. On top of that, there was some sort of raging sandstorm outside, and I was begging for my life, hoping that that does not break blocks. I used this time to research about this oak sieve, and it turns out this is how I'll be getting resources in this mod pack, but I need a mesh so I could destroy the sand into minerals. So that meant I couldn't do anything else for the rest of the night, so I thought maybe if I take out the zombies, I could get some wood, but no. Look how many red dots are up there. It got even worse during the night. They started coming from both sides. It was insane.
Let me in. Let me in.
Day 2 has finally arrived, but I forgot one crucial fact, that husks don't burn during the day. Oh, and also creepers.
Open the door or I'm gonna throw rocks through your window.
How am I supposed to get outside? There's literally hundreds of husks waiting for me. You want to know what my strategy was? It was run. Run as fast as I could and as far as I could get. My goal was to bring them far away from the spaceship so they would stop tracking me and try to get some stuck in holes, but there was just so many of them. I did go far enough to see that there was actually a sand temple right next to the spaceship, which is actually amazing. I was able to lead most of the pack away from my spaceship, while the others I tried to push into this hole. Even that wasn't enough because there were still more, so I had to craft out a sword and take out the rest of them. I spent the rest of the day chopping as many trees down as I could, and I planted more cactuses down because I know that they'll be useful for something eventually. Maybe you should build a wall out of the cactuses, Soxer1. Maybe that would have protect you from the zombies. I wish I thought of that. The nighttime was here, and it was time to follow the rest of the quest book. I made these new things called oak barrels, and turns out when you put birch saplings in them, it will mold into actual dirt, which is perfect because with more dirt, I can plant more saplings, which means more wood. I spent the rest of the night just whacking away at the zombies with my wooden sword because turns out rotten flesh is my only food source at this moment. Day 3 was here, and I finally could plant more saplings with the more dirt I had, and as you can see, I also took some damage trying to get those zombies away from my base. I started noticing another problem, and that problem being I drank all my water, and we're in the middle of a desert. How am I supposed to get more? Luckily, I had an emergency solution using the water back behind the ship, but then I realized that none of this water is infinite. If you don't know what that means, that basically means that water works the same way as lava in this mod pack, which actually makes it 10 times more difficult. After some research, there is a way to get more water, and it is using cactuses in these crucibles because after a little while, they decompose into water. Cactuses are literally keeping me alive, but I can't stop thinking of this meme of Sokka from the Avatar The Last Airbender where he started drinking cactus juice and he started going insane. That's literally gonna be me at the end of this 100 days. And on the same day, another problem started occurring. I was actually starting to overheat, so I had to run back inside. Luckily, the nighttime came by, so I started cooling down, but at the same time, in emergencies, I do have this heat-resistant potion that one of the quests gave me. During the night, there wasn't really much for me to do, so I just kept on researching about the mods and organizing my chest. The next day arrived, and honestly, things just seemed to be getting harder and harder, and even it seems to be even more and more zombies. I did my best to bring them away from my base and also bring some more cactuses home, but whenever the sun reaches midday, like right in the middle of the sky, I can't actually do anything because then I start overheating. So all I can do is stand in the middle of my base and try to cool down somehow because moving actually creates more heat. When the sun started dropping, I tried to use this time to start building a wall around my base so the zombies can't get in. I should have used cactuses, but I didn't think of that when I was playing. The wall is actually extremely important to finish because this is when I realized the nighttime is where I can work the most because I don't have to worry about the heat. Just when I was about to finish the wall, I ran out of sand and the zombie started chasing through and he actually got through. I took him out and I quickly filled out the gap. I tried to hold off the other zombies, but it looks like my wall wasn't good enough because they were actually climbing over the spaceship. I did nothing for the rest of the night because, I mean, my food bunker speaks for itself. On day 5, one of the next quests was actually to start making good meal preps like Gordon Ramsay. During the day, I used that time to fix up my wall a bit so the zombies won't get through, but during the night, I found about a new thing called a silkworm that I can place on a tree. What does this silkworm do? Well, it actually infects the leaves, so it's going to turn these leaves into infected leaves that would drop different things. Because of right now, trees only drop saplings and apples, and this is a way to get something new. And with all the cactus that I have spare, I put them in the crucibles for water, and I also put them in the barrels for dirt. I basically have infinite dirt and water if I have enough cactus. Day 6 is here, and I learned something new. I finally know how to use this oak sieve now. By putting down a mesh that is made out of string, I can now break through blocks such as dirt and sand. Why do this, you must ask? Well, this is actually how I get materials in the game because it's not like I can go mining because there are no ores in this map. From smashing this dirt, I got small pieces of stones that craft into cobblestone, so this is actually how I get my first pieces of stone. I kept on smashing more and more dirt because I needed more stone so I can make my first furnace. The problem with breaking through so much dirt is that it requires a lot of cactus, so I went cactus hunting, which is not a problem, but it takes some time. And you guys remember those trees that we infected with the silkworm? Well, look what it did to all the leaves. They are now infected leaves. Just breaking the leaves is a guaranteed way to get string. But in order for me to actually collect these infected leaves, I need some shears, but I don't have any iron yet, so that's gonna have to wait. Day 7 is here, and just having this small wall has helped me so much. None of the zombies can annoy me now. Even the cactus was being somewhat effective. I kept on collecting strings from these infected trees so I can craft more mesh so I could smash more dirt. Turns out that dirt not only drops stone, it also drops seeds and stuff, so that means I could actually start my own farm. And this is gonna break your mind. Turns out I can also break sand, and sand actually gives like ores and stuff. Going through half a stack of sand gave me all of this stuff and even some little iron fragments, so that means this is how I get iron. And I always cut down my trees during the nighttime because it's always too hot during the day to be outside. Day 8 was a very special day because I finally had enough stone from the dirt in order to make my final piece of cobblestone for a furnace. And from the furnace, my first objective was actually to make a bucket. Why is the bucket so good, you might ask? Well, I can actually fill this bucket with water, which would allow me to stay outside. Day 9 is the day we'll test out my theory. If I just sit in water, I actually cool down. But then I saw something I've never seen in Minecraft before. Because the water's not infinite, you can't actually make an infinite water source, so you make something like this. Boom, my theory is actually correct. By going into the water, look, I'm actually cooling down, and it's the middle of the day, which I would usually be burning up. And here's the best part of the bucket. Now I can actually create a farm because I have lots of seeds from crushing all that dirt. I used all the leftover dirt I had, and I started my first sock farm. It's amazing. The morning was rising on day 10, and we still have a problem. On my other side of my ship, there's still thousands of zombies and creepers and witches. That means I need to make a new wall that goes all around my base because I also needed the more space. And instead of making a cactus wall, which would probably been smarter, I started making another sand wall all around my base. I did as much as I could before it turned nighttime, and I got maybe a quarter done, which is pretty good, but I couldn't work the night because it would be too dangerous out. Day 11 was pretty crazy because I woke up to the actual rotten flesh that got dried out. It was literally called monster jerky, and it was actually a pretty good food source. I continued the great wall and even made a moat because I had to get the sand anyway, and this is also great preparation for day 100 when the zombies will attack. Because if you haven't forgotten, not only do we have to survive, we have to prepare for the ultimate attack on day 100. Just when I thought I was alone, turns out there's unknown coordinates that I need to go explore. That is definitely something I'm going to have to prepare for because currently I don't have any armor, nor do I have enough water to go more than 100 blocks away from my base. I did as much wall work as I could today, but I also realized I'm going to need torches to light up the inside of the base so the zombies don't spawn. I did that in my inner circle, at least for now, and I also made this path to make things look a little nicer. I spent most of day 13 just smashing through sand because honestly, I just need better gear now. I spent some time on the wall as well, and I went a little past my bedtime because zombies were everywhere. What caught my interest was this compressed husk. Like, what does that even mean? And oh my goodness, did I find out real quick. My man ate like 100 other zombies for dinner last night. I don't know what happened to him. I'm out of there. Day 14 is the day I finally learned about Tinker's mod, and I learned about all these fancy new stuff I can make. And turns out there's a lot more recipes in this, like making a cactus shovel and a cactus axe. That's right, I'm literally blown away. I can actually make tools out of cactus, and it's so much better than stone and wood. And that being said, I was actually able to finish the wall, not the moat, but the actual wall outside. I mean, the Great Wall was done. The only thing left was lighting up the interior, which was not a problem. And quick knowledge fact, if you actually press F7, you can actually see where all the spots where mobs can spawn, so I just placed torches in there. Day 16 is here, and by any chance, do you guys remember these infected leaves that come from the silkworms? Well, it turns out if you use them in the sieves, you can actually get slime balls and ice. Turns out ice and slime together make this gelled slime ingot. Toxtron, where are you going with this? Well, as you guys know, the heat is a big issue, and if I actually put on iron armor, I would actually overheat and die. But there's actually other armor that I can make, like this gelled slime ingot that is as strong as iron, but it actually cools me down. And I made a complete full set of it, which is amazing because now I finally have some protection. Not only that, it allowed me to complete another quest, and I actually look pretty good in it. Hey. Oh yeah, and let's check in our Great Wall, see if any zombies spawn, and it looks like nothing, except there is some little spots that I need to put there, but on the most part, no zombies. Day 17 is here, and now that I had some heat protection armor, I can now work much better during the day, which was much nicer. So the plan for today was actually to make an automatic cactus farm because, as you know, cactus is literally everything in this mod pack. It gives me dirt, it gives me water, and it's kind of annoying, if not dangerous, to keep on getting cactus all the time. I kind of just want it all to be automatic. And an automatic cactus farm doesn't actually require redstone, which is really nice. And which is funny, I needed to find more cactus for the farm, and I actually found a mine shaft, which is insane. But this is the main problem going outside my base. I literally have to stay in a water source every 2 minutes, even with heat protection. There is one problem with the automatic cactus farm. It does require hopper, which is quite expensive. I mean, it took me a long time just to get 2 iron pieces. Yeah, so I had to smash a lot more sand. For some reason, I thought my stomach was upset, but it was actually, seems to be, we had uninvited guests all over the place. So that means the Great Wall has failed us. And this is possible from the sandstorms, because what the sandstorms do, it piles up sand, which allows the zombies to climb over walls, which is kind of annoying. Day 18 was here, and I took care of the uninvited guests, and I had enough for the daily hopper. That meant I could finish my automatic cactus farm. If you don't know how this farm works, it's actually quite simple. These fence posts automatically break the cactus when it grows 1 block too tall. And then the water will just push everything into the middle where the hopper will collect the cactuses. Using the materials I had, I made it look quite nice, which is awesome to have a little more green in the base. During the nighttime, I was scouring to figure out what was the matter with the walls, and I realized that the zombies can even spawn on top of the walls, so I'm going to have to place either torches or slabs on them. And turns out they can also spawn on top of the spaceship, which was kind of annoying. Day 19 was here, and it was time to check up on the cactus farm, and it made a whole 2 cactuses. Sheesh! I also made the Great Wall greater by placing slabs on the top so no zombies could spawn there. The base is really coming together, which is nice. I went from barely surviving to actually having a decent living space. Day 20 was a day to remember because I thought I was gonna lose everything. To start things off, there was a massive sandstorm that was putting sand everywhere. And that actually ruins my automatic cactus farm because it puts sand everywhere, which ruins and even takes out some of the water sources. I thought I could fix it by replacing the sand with wood, but that's when I saw that text. That text right there. If you don't know what that means, it basically increases the mob spawning by about 10,000% during the night. It also makes the moon red, which is very scary. There were literally thousands of zombies outside the walls, and there were spiders climbing all over the place. What is that? Like, look at that. How do you even defeat that? If it wasn't for the Great Wall, I would have literally been finished. Even getting near it was deadly because witches were throwing potions all over the place. And somehow zombies were getting inside my base, and I had to be careful because 2 hits and I'm out. Day 20 was finally over, and I had to like mentally reset myself because that was a lot of pressure. And now I'm gonna do something even more crazy because it's day 21 and I finally have armor, so I want to go to this unknown location. It was about 500 blocks away from my base, which wasn't that bad, but since we're in the middle of a desert, I have to make these constant pit stops to cool myself down because I'm in the heat. Near my destination, I got to see another sand temple over to the right, which was quite rare. But that's when I saw the abandoned city. This place was absolutely insane. Let me just cool down real quick because I can't take this heat, son. I tried to go inside one of the buildings, but zombies and different mobs just kept on pouring out. What I learned shortly is that there's actually spawners in all these bases, which is kind of annoying because now it's going to be incredibly hard to get the loot. And to make matters worse, every time I fight a mob, I actually get hotter, which is a constant annoying factor. I finally got into one of the buildings and took out the spawner, but turns out there was nothing in that chest, but at least there was bookshelves. Just my luck, so there's only a chance if there's loot in the chest, and there's so many buildings to explore. But I used this time to get the stone and gravel from the path because honestly, at this point of time, I actually really need it. I wanted to explore more buildings and maybe get some loot, but I was already out of food and water, so at least I placed a waypoint so I know where to go next time. I used the nighttime to regroup, but I'm definitely gonna need more food and water for another adventure. Day 22 is here, and we have another problem. Because of the sandstorm, sand builds up on side the walls, which allow the zombies to climb over the walls. So I had to spend some time of the day just clearing it out so I just don't die from a zombie attack. I for sure need a lot more food, especially for adventure, so I decided to make a second floor for my cactus farm. That way I can get a lot more dirt. Because you guys know, cactus turns into dirt, so cactus literally holds all the power. And for the first time in all of these 100 days, I was actually able to sleep because string turns into wool, so I actually have a bed to sleep in. Day 23 arrived, and I started learning some really important stuff about cooking stuff. Your boy's turning into Gordon Ramsay. You see, all the foods in this mod pack are severely nerfed, and you're actually supposed to craft like insane things using this mod called Pam Harvest Craft. Anyway, I spent the rest of the day just digging up the moat because I needed the sand anyway for ores. And if you see on my left, I even started my own cactus wall outside my current wall for double protection. Day 24 arrived, and I spent the entire day just smashing through sand because there was a sandstorm outside, so I couldn't even go out. And I also made my first fancy sort of meal with a bowl and bones, which gave me stock, which is much better than the carrots I've been eating. Big day 25 was here because I had a plan to go and raid one of those desert temples that were near my base. I also figured out this cool strategy using ladders to quickly get in and out of my base. This temple wasn't too far from my base, which was nice, so I didn't have to worry about getting too overheated. When I got inside, I quickly got deadly as there was a skeleton with full golden armor armor right outside. I was a bit scared since this was the first skeleton that I fought, but since I basically have iron armor now, it wasn't really a problem. But this was the real problem. There seemed to be mobs that spawned down there, and they blew up everything, meaning there was no more loot. And to top it all off, I had to spend the rest of the day at the temple, because if I moved, I would actually get too hot and die. I spent the rest of day 25 just sitting in my spaceship because I was just too hot. Day 26 is the day I realized I honestly need a lot more resources. So where better to start with a cobblestone generator, because now I made a crucible out of clay that makes lava. And since I have the buckets now, I can transport the liquids. So I decided to make the cobblestone generator here on the back of my spaceship. There are many uses for cobblestone, and at the moment, the only place where I can get cobblestone is through dirt, and that takes a long time. I had the resources, so I double stacked my cobblestone generator so I could get a lot more. On top of that, with all this cobblestone, I'll be able to make more furnaces, and more importantly, the cobblestone is actually how I get more lava. And lava is very important because it can be used as a fuel source and also to protect my base on day 100. On day 27, I took that gravel that I stole from that abandoned city and I put it through the shredder, and turns out I get better ores from it. And after some research, if I craft something called a hammer that's quite cheap, I can actually destroy cobblestone, which gives me gravel. Which is insane because gravel is the stuff I need in order to get more ores. Your boy is in business. This made me realize the next day the importance of cobblestone, and I was wondering if there was a way to automate it. And there was something I could make called a cobblestone generator that makes cobblestone automatically. It was quite cheap too. I just needed some more buckets in order to craft it, so it's just a little more grinding. Oh, is that a compressed creeper? Oh, no way. Why am I hitting this? Anyway, on day 29, I made the cobblestone generator, and turns out I don't even need to fuel it. It just makes cobblestone. I'm being serious. According to the wiki, I just have to place it down, and it's just gonna make cobblestone indefinitely. While I was waiting for the cobblestone to make, I just smashed through more gravel because, you know, infinite minerals, bro. Day 30 came around the corner, and I learned something insane about the Tinker's mod. Turns out I can combine my pickaxes or tools with ores. And what it does, it literally makes it better, and different ores have different attributes. I didn't want to waste my diamond though, because that's the only diamond I got from my gravel so far. So I combined my pickaxe with the emerald, and it gave it as much durability as a diamond pickaxe, which is insane. My next goal would be to get another emerald and put it on my axe, because I use that for everything. Looking at my quest book, there is one way to battle the heat, and that is actually making something called a cooling coil. It is basically air conditioning that I can put in my house, but it's expensive because it requires diamonds. Well, that just means I'm gonna have to do a lot more gravel smashing so I get a lot more ores. Also, when I stand out here at my Great Wall, there is always so many mobs, and I was thinking if there was some way to make an amazing mob grinder here. Just imagine the amount of resources I would get. Well, that's exactly what I'm gonna do on day 31, but first, I'm gonna make this automatic tree chopper. That's right, this little box can supposedly plant and automatically chop down trees for me, which is fantastic. The only problem, it does require coal and also an axe for me to put in, but that shouldn't be a problem because I've been getting lots of coal from the gravel. So day 32 is actually the day I start trying to do some sort of mob grinder thing. My thinking was the zombies would just walk and die in the cactuses while my hopper and chest just pick up all the items. The only way this would work if all the zombies spawn outside the cactuses, so I had to fill out my moat so no zombies would spawn down there. The nighttime came and all the zombies already started rushing in, and it seemed to be working all right. I noticed one problem. There were actually zombies spawning inside the cactuses, and that's because I didn't light up my cobblestone, so they were gonna still spawn there. And then some zombies started going over the wall, but the idea works. It just needs a little more tinkering. The next day, I put torches on the outside of my wall so no zombies would spawn at the cobblestone. And the night came, and it seemed to be working well as long as I stayed behind the wall because the skeletons still shoot at me. Oh yeah, and we're gonna have to do something about the spiders. But it seemed to be working perfectly. The amount of zombies that were showing up was insane. And even witches were getting caught in the crossfire, which is amazing because they drop like redstone and stuff. Just when I thought I had a perfect working system, I completely forgot about one mob, but it was kind of my fault because I was standing too close. The creeper. Disaster struck. The wall was blown up. The cactuses were down. Zombies were everywhere. I tried to take out as many as I could. Maybe I could fill up the wall or something, but the zombies just kept on coming in. The zombies are one thing, but the witches are brutal, man. They're poison. It's just... On day 34, there was like a creeper right outside my door, so I just smashed gravel all day. And I did the same thing on day 35, and honestly, it's worth it because look how many more ores I have. It's fantastic. And I continued the same thing on day 36, but this time I also smelted up my ores, which I can do now because I have 8 furnaces. I just have a really good system going with the cobblestone generator making cobblestone, and then I smash it with a hammer to get gravel. And then I smash that gravel for ores, and look at that. I just got a diamond from the gravel. And I also got to finish the wall and put the hopper hopper back, which is great. Now I just know not to stand too close to the wall because of creepers. Now it's working as intended, which is amazing. I spent day 37 just fixing up my cactus farm because it keeps on getting ruined by the sandstorms. I keep on looking up ways to prevent the sand from stacking up, and it seems to be glass is the way to do it. Hopefully it should protect the stuff inside and sand shouldn't go near it, because when this thing is working, look at that, a whole stack of cactus in a couple days. I mean, that's amazing. Day 38 is a ridiculous day because I learned about an invention that completely changes the way how I play Minecraft. The slime sling. What's the slime sling, you must be asking? Well, if you combine this with the slime boots, hold right click and point at the ground, you go flying into the air. And because of the slime boots, you can just hop around all over the place. This thing is absolutely ridiculous, and it's gonna make fast traveling so much easier. I could literally reach the abandoned city in less than 5 seconds. So that's exactly what I did, and I also did it during the nighttime because now I don't have to worry about the heat. And the mobs shouldn't be a problem because I can just hop my way away from them. I literally traveled the 500 blocks within 5 seconds. It was amazing. But it was still nighttime and dangerous, and turns out there's invisible zombies that after they hit you, they turn visible again. Honestly, I don't know if it's safer to be here during the day or the night. There's mobs everywhere. While I was exploring, I found an entire Tinker's Constructs furnace. The only problem is that it was next to a blaze spawner, so that's not something I'm gonna risk taking at the moment. Psych, I was able to take out those blazes using my shield, and most importantly, I took this entire furnace thingy. The shield is probably the best defense and offense weapon, man. The sun was coming out, and I had to defend myself and cool myself down, and I got myself to half a heart. I was able to take some bookshelves, which was perfect because that means I can craft some bookshelves back at home. Instead of making an enchantment table like a normal person, I actually enchanted these little moss things, which took all my XP. The reason I made this book is because if you apply this book to any sort of tool, it is basically mending. Your tool will automatically repair its durability with XP. It used up 30 of my levels, but honestly, it was worth it because I put it on my axe, what I use for everything. Cutting down trees and also eliminating mobs. Day 39 came around, and I can finally start building that Tinker smelter that I stolen from that abandoned city. If you don't know what that giant furnace is, it basically makes smelting ores 10 times easier because you can dump like thousands of ores in it. Plus, it can run on lava and smelt a lot more ores for the amount of fuel you use. And for the first time ever, I was actually gonna go to sleep. Turns out you can make wool with string, and this is the first time I ever slept in 40 days of Minecraft hardcore. Looking at my quest book on what it wants me to do next, and it looks like it wants me to upgrade my tools from cactus into obsidian. But that's gonna have to wait because now with my new slime launcher, I can go to so many areas so much faster. And I still want to successfully raid a sand temple. Luckily, this one wasn't all exploded, which I was thankful for because I couldn't wait for what kind of loot was gonna be inside. Not only did I get all the TNT, there was all these weird cool gadgets inside the chest that I've never seen before. You know this stuff must be good if you don't even understand what it is. But I did get plenty of gunpowder and even bones, which is gonna be great for all this farming stuff. Day 41, I was back in my base and I dropped all my loot in my chests. And that's when I'm realizing all my chests are overflowing with stuff. They need to be upgraded. But turns out there's this awesome mod called Actual Additions that have these small storage crates, and they're super cheap. They only cost wood. And I could just use them to upgrade my current chest, which keeps all the items inside, and it's so much better than the regular chest. So I did that to all of them, and now I have a lot more space. The next thing I made were these stone crucibles, which are actually how you get obsidian, which is perfect, so I could finally upgrade my cactus tools if I needed. I spent the next day just grinding for materials, but instead of smashing through gravel, I actually went through dust, which gives a chance for redstone. Why redstone, you must ask? Well, there's actually two reasons. Redstone is actually how I will be making netherrack, and it is also the key ingredient to most of the machinery that I will be making a little bit later. And that is also when I learned something really tragic. All my crops literally just died. Like, they're all dead. You're not gonna believe this because after a little bit of research, you know this whole heat and weather mod that I have to deal with? Turns out, even though I'm in the middle of the desert, it's actually winter time. And even though it's winter, even though I'm in the middle of a desert and I'm actually overheating constantly, my plants actually died because it's too cold outside. So what I'm trying to build right now is actually a greenhouse so all the heat stays trapped in. Does this work? We're about to find out. Yes, I'm still missing a roof, but after doing some research, turns out the only way for these plants to survive is actually getting a heating coil inside the farm. It's like the cooling coil that I have inside my base, but now it's the opposite. It's for heat. Day 44 was just me grinding materials, but this happened, which was pretty funny.
Out of my way, son! Door stuck!
I don't know how this is possible, but it looks like all the step zombies got stuck in this one hole. No need to worry, I have a solution. That was less dramatic than I thought, but it was still pretty funny. It is day 45, and this is where the grind really starts because I have to prepare for the day 100 attack. I got more materials, and I got the Tinker smelter up and running, and it is already better than furnaces. I continued even more the next day and smelted even more ores that I got. With more materials, I was able to get better stuff. For example, this heavy mesh that allows me to smash through compressed gravel. Compressed gravel is basically 9 pieces of gravel put into one, which means I get 9 times more when I break through this block. This is a huge time savior because I usually spend half the day just grinding materials by smashing 1 piece of gravel at a time. And now with all these new materials, I set up tree choppers all on my trees on the backyard, which means all these trees will be automatically grown and cut down automatically as long as it's fueled. I also had to supply them with axes, which wasn't a problem because I had plenty of cactus to go around. As you know, I make all my tools out of cactus. I mean, cactus rules this world. And for the first time ever, I left my little air conditioning machine on during the night. I actually started freezing so hard that I started taking damage. I mean, this is the first time this ever happened to me. Oh, and I guess it's also a blood moon. That's kind of funny. Luckily, I didn't want to endanger myself. I kind of just sat and watched as I saw thousands of zombies get crumbled. Day 48, I was feeling a lot more confident with my tools and supplies, so I wanted to go to the abandoned city again. I went during the nighttime, so I didn't have to worry about the heat. I guess I left a little late because it was already daytime, but this time I was prepared. I tried to hit the upper floors of the abandoned city in order to get better loot, maybe, but I kept on getting controlled a lot, man. There was nothing in these chests. I did my best to explore as many rooms as I can, but even when I try, sometimes the mobs are just too much. And don't even get me started on cave spiders, man. Those guys are the absolute worst. And especially my situation when I only have 5 hearts and they can just climb walls and everything. I mean, they're like little ninja men. It is day 50, and honestly, I'm halfway there, but I need to get a lot stronger if I want to survive the big day 100 attack. I spent the day researching and crafting, but I ended up making that heating coil that required blaze rods that I got from that abandoned city, and now I can place it in my farm without my plants dying, which is fantastic. The only problem with it is that whenever I go into that room, it does increase my temperature a lot, so I just have to be careful with that. But now I have a much better way to know if I'm getting too hot or too cold with this cool temperature clock on the bottom left. It tells me how hot or how cold an area is, which is really nice. For the next 4 days, I was on a material grind because it is a big step for me to go into these big machines. And these machines cost like redstone and iron and whatnot. I literally made giant cobblestone towers and then smashed it with my hammer and to get gravel. And because of this, I also completed a quest where I was supposed to get all these different types of ores. And you can already see the rewards are more fancy machine stuff. On day 55, from those 2 days of grinding, I was able to make myself 2 new machines, an automatic sieve and even a sawmill. This automating machine has this little Steve inside, and when you put sand and power it, it will automatically destroy that sand or gravel into ores. Exactly what I've been doing manually. And then I went crazy during the nighttime and I want to go exploring again. This time, instead of the abandoned city, I did find this battle tower that I wanted to explore. There for sure should be some loot in these chests as they're guaranteed to have loot. The only problem is, again, of course, all the mobs. I mean, look at all these skeletons, man. And not to mention the amount of invisible zombies that were spawning during the nighttime. I thought my luck would be better during the daytime, but honestly, it got even worse, so I said later. On day 56, I came back to check up on my machines, and they were doing fantastic. I mean, just look how many ores are in here. I spent the rest of the day just fixing up my farm, and then getting all the extra cactus all around my base, because you know, cactus is love, cactus is life. I also planted my first sugarcane, which is kind of crazy. Big day 57 was here, and I actually upgraded my cactus tools for once. I got the obsidian pickaxe. I didn't stop there. I gave it a diamond and an emerald pickaxe enchant, and I even made an enchantment table, but I didn't enchant anything yet because I didn't have full bookshelves yet. And then I spent the next 3 days just grinding materials, because you know, it's Minecraft, bro. And oh, an emerald. The big day 61 was here, and I fear no man. I was going back to that battle tower, and I was going to succeed. I don't care how many zombies are gonna be up here, man. I'm gonna take them all down. Cave spiders, they're nothing. I'm literally eating spider eyes in my meals for breakfast, bro. I battled an entire night for 17 pieces of coal and 5 pieces of redstone. Are you kidding me? And now I'm poisoned. Fantastic. And there's thousands of zombies underneath me, and I'm about to overheat and die. I spent day 62 just regrouping and collecting stuff from my farms and everything and organizing my chests. Because day 63, baby, I'm going back in. I'm not afraid. This time, I'm just gonna cobblestone tower all the way to the chests that are closer to the top. This plan is unbeatable and unmatched.
Surprise!
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
Don't worry, I was okay, but this just shows how crazy everything is. Before I gave up, I was able to take out one more layer. I got mushrooms and wheat, completely useless, and then I entered the scariest room possible. I'm done, man. I'm going back home. Day 64 here, and we are back on the machine grind. After a bit of crafting, I was able to make myself this alloy smelter, and it basically allows me to get even new and more advanced ores, which would be amazing. Day 65 was here, and I would just like to take a moment and appreciate actually how nice this farm looks. I'm pretty impressed with myself. After a bit of crafting today, I was able to make this. It's got a cool name to it, magmatic dynamo. Basically, it makes power for my machines, but in return, I have to give it lava, which luckily I can get. For the next couple days, I was just focusing on making some machines. I got this cool tree that literally makes rubber, and it's used for machines. I upgraded my armor to obsidian and some other stuff. Made my whole area look a little nicer, because might as well. I even changed my inner wall to stone bricks, because I'm fancy like that. I did a lot of material grinding. I mean, cobblestone walls after cobblestone walls. And then took that gravel that I got from that cobblestone, turned it into compressed gravel, and got all the materials from it. And then finally made my machine corner a little more nicer, fancier, and even more efficient with the energy pipes. It was the big day 76, and we were only 25 days left until the big 100-day attack. I used this day to mostly think of what would be the best way to defend myself against zombies that can literally climb and break blocks. I went outside my protective wall and just fought against some skeletons and zombies just to see how strong I am right now. Overall, I'm pretty strong, especially with a shield. I think I'm just gonna need some traps or defenses, especially when there's gonna be so many of them. The first step is on day 77 is to make another outer wall outside my already great wall. I spent the entire day outlining a trench, what would be the outer wall to protect my inner wall. Is it just me, or am I literally creating Bossing Save from Avatar? Walls and lava won't cut it though. I need an actual defense, so my plan is to make these gun turrets. The only problem is that they are quite expensive, but they would definitely be worth it. So I had to spend a couple days just smelting up ores and getting the correct stuff that I needed. So on day 82, the great crafting of the gun turrets began, but you gotta think there's other factors for me to think of. Meaning I also need power sources for these turrets and bullets. In between crafting days, I would have to get more resources and make even more traps, if not little trenches all over the place. The first machine part that I made was the actual storage that held all the power. I also had to keep on working on more manual things like my ravines outside and inside my wall. And on day 86, now that I had one of the main parts for the turret base, I could actually start making one of the first parts for the turret. And after a couple more days of just crafting and material grinding, I had the turrets, but not just one, I had 2 turrets to use. And now I was designing a place where I could put the turrets and still have them to be very effective. After going through a couple spots, I decided to put them right in between the towers. That way they have a little protection from the zombies, but still have that full 360-degree angle where they could shoot them at. On day 91, now that I had the turrets, I had to worry about 2 other things, and that would be the bullets and the power. For the power, I wanted to fuel them with lava because that is the one thing that I have. But that means I need to craft more of these magmatic dynamos that are the actual energy source creators. On day 92, while I was getting resources to make bullets for my guns, I also kept on expanding my trenches areas because I want to make it completely impossible for zombies to come through. And by the nighttime, I had one of those magmatic dynamos to fuel one of my turrets bases, which was great. I also saw something else that was really funny. There seemed to be like hundreds of zombies just in this little hole. I'm gonna blow them up, but I'm gonna use 2 TNTs this time to make sure that they all blow up. On day 93, with only 7 days left to the final attack, I also expanded the Great Wall with another set of cactus. I spent all day on it because I also had to farm some cactuses as well. But we're literally gonna have 2 cactus walls. I mean, how good is that? With the final days coming, I did everything in my power to make my base as secure as possible. I did my best to get as much lava as I could and filled even my trenches with lava, so even if the zombies came over, they would fall into lava. But sadly, I don't think I'll have enough lava to fill up all my trenches because it takes me an entire day to get 4 buckets of lava. I decided to make a better weapon as well by making a cactus pan and upgrading it with an emerald and diamond, so it's an extra strong frying pan. I actually had enough diamonds these days to make full diamond armor and even diamond weapons, but I thought it would be funny to go out with a cactus frying pan because it's a cactus frying pan. I also made sure that my turrets were ready with the bullets loaded and the power all the way up. And in emergencies, I thought it would be a good way for me to have an emergency exit just in case if I got overrun. It would be better to be safe than sorry, so I decided to make a sky-based thing in the air. I built it quite high in the air, so hopefully it would take the zombies a long time to get up there, but who knows? And that being said, this is actually day 99, my final night that is actually normal. The big day 100 was here. Was I ready for the attack? I'll be honest, I don't know. I used most of the gold I had to make golden carrots just so I had a better food source. I dealt with all these zombies that seem to be hiding in holes all over the place, and I tried to fix the wall in some parts because it looks like a creeper exploded it. But it was so hot outside today that I had to actually run back inside to cool down. So that means I just have to wait inside my base. I got my inventory set, I enchanted my bow, I think I was ready. The day 100 night was here, and the redness of the sky was already showing. The sun wasn't even down completely, yet there was hundreds of dots all over the place. Within a couple moments, there were already zombies breaching the cactus wall and trying to bridge over. And this is the first time I saw my turrets in action, which was fantastic, so I'm glad that they're working. It was hard for me to stay near the wall because the lava heats me up so much. I had to cool myself outside, and that's when I saw zombies starting to breach the walls where the lava wasn't at. I ran back to being in the front of the base because being near these turrets and all the lava is going to be our best protection. But oh my goodness, do you see how many red dots are on the minimap? That's insane. And that's when it happened. All the zombies came at once. They knocked down my iron bars and just kept on walking in. I forgot to break the stone slab path, but it was too late now. There were literally hundreds of zombies inside my base. My turrets were going insane. I was going insane, but it was so many of them. I tried to run inside, but they just break down the door immediately and they just start barging in. I thought this would be easier, but I started panicking. There was literally hundreds of zombies inside my base, so I went to my exit plan. How many zombies are there? They just won't stop. I had a little time to eat and refresh up here, but then the zombies started climbing up the ladders. I didn't want to get trapped in there, so I made a quick break for it, but they were all following me. My goal was to bring them back to the main turret so I could at least take them all out. And for a moment, we were actually handling them. We were taking out the zombies and surviving. I had to run inside my base for a quick cooldown session again because standing near that lava heats me up quickly, but that's when I see it. More red dots are forming. When I went out of my base, I saw it. There were literally thousands of zombies, like a second phase coming at me. I tried to bring them back to my turrets, but it looks like they were out of ammo or out of power. I didn't have time to check. I had to take them all out manually, but there were hundreds of them, man. I was managing for the most part when a compressed witch hit me and actually poisoned me. Are you insane? For the worst part, I can't actually kill that compressed witch because if I do it, it would explode into 10,000 more witches. But I had a game plan now to take all the zombies using a lava bucket because it was the most effective way. I had to eat more food and water, so I started bridging up, but the zombies were just climbing up like monkeys, man. I've never seen this before. I kept on knocking the zombies down, recovering my health and everything, and that's when the sun started to rise, which was fantastic. For the most part, there were zombies down there, not husks, which was amazing because that means they would start burning. I clipped this wrong, but I blew the rest of the zombies with a giant TNT explosion. And I did it. I actually did it. I survived 100 days on a desert wasteland with a day 100 zombie attack. This has been one of the biggest challenges I've ever faced, and if you guys want to see more, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. And if you made it this far, you deserve yourself 10 gold stars. Thank you so much for watching.